morning everyone, happy Tuesday and welcome to our second ever Technique Tuesday show. I'm super happy to be doing this one because Prism products are probably one of my favourite things. I think stamping and colouring is definitely something that I really love to do. So our Technique Tuesday shows are more of an in-depth how to use some of our products. So today we're focusing on our fantastic brush markers. Our brush markers are really great. There's a whole colour selection which we'll run through, and you get a fantastic bundle. I think this is the lowest price it's actually ever been. So there's 48 pens in this bundle. So there is 6 colour selections altogether. You're only going to get 4 in this one, but they are the 4 most used, as you can see here. So we've got the, they've got really funny names actually. I was just going to say the greens, but I'll get shouted at because that's not right. We've got Heavenly Sunset, Blue Lagoon, we've got Berry Burst and Forest Walk. So that's what you're going to get included in this ultimate bundle today for $39.99. Not only are you going to get those fantastic pens, but you're also going to get our handbook. So our handbook, we're going to go through some of the things in there today in a little bit more detail, because sometimes pictures, they're just, you look at them and you're like, I'm not sure how to do that. So we'll go through that in a bit more detail as well. But before we get onto this, we've got some reminders because we started our Black Friday this week. So it's our first week of our Black Friday deals with Sheila and Dan yesterday. I've got some interesting news for you. So a third of all of yesterday's products have completely sold out. They have gone. So congratulations to anyone who bought them, because they're no longer here. So you were definitely on it. Over half of the Twilight Safari Topper collection's gone. It went in a day. That's incredible. If you've maybe bought them but you didn't get the inserts, you need to get them quickly. People are multi-ordering these because they're only £1. £1? How many inserts did you get in that, Emily? Was that a full pack of inserts for £1? You are joking me. A full pack of inserts for £1?
There are.
A full pack. Is it 36?
Oh no, 12.
12? Okay. So half of what you would get in a regular pack. But if you're going to get more than one, it's £2. It's basically a full pack. A full pack for £2. That's incredible. So new lines are going to be added for Friday's Hunky Dory show. So make sure you tune in to Thankcraft It's Friday, because I'm sure, as incredible as the deals were yesterday, we're going to have some amazing ones on Friday as well. Dispatch is doing really great. They've already picked yesterday's orders. They've already picked them, people, and they're going out today. So that's just incredible. So this afternoon and tomorrow, they're going to be out of the building. So if you ordered in our Black Friday event, they are already on the way to you. How fantastic is that? Let me know what you bought, because I was busy at Create and Craft yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to have a look. So let me know what you bought if you got anything in the amazing Black Friday deals. Next to talk to you about is every order placed during our Black Friday event is going to be automatically entered into a prize draw, which is a massive giveaway. If we move to the pack shot, we'll be able to run through those. So we're going to have 2 prizes of £250. So each winner is going to receive the 2 top rows that you can see here to my side. So you're going to get the complete Flourishes Florals Decollage collection, including the main kit, inserts, papers and 3 dies. You're going to get the Land of Enchantment full collection, the inserts, mirror pad and the amazing DL panels. You're going to get the full new stamper card collection, which is those fantastic 6 like super funky stamps that we showed you a couple of weeks ago. The winners of this 250 prize are also going to get what's in the second row, which is the Eastern Wishes Luxury card collection, together with the paper pad and the paper pack and the inserts. You're going to get all 8 sets of Diamond Sparkles gemstones. I'm guessing these are our essential ones. which are, oh no, our shimmer ones, even more exciting. And you're going to get a cheeky Flourishing Florals little book that's made its way onto the second row there. So you're going to get that whole collection. Now, they are the prizes and what you're going to win if you, oh wow, oh my gosh. Okay, so these two prizes that are worth £250 are just for the runners-up. If you win this competition, it's going to be worth £500 and you're going to get everything you see here. So you're going to get the two things that we've just run through, but then also you're going to get the complete Bohemian Bliss collection, main kit inserts and 8x8 paper pad, 3 little books, 3 decoupage pads, all 4 of our first launch of Popper Topper pads, and the complete Peony Promise collection. £500 of hunky dory goodies are for you. You're going to get all of this. That's incredible. So one lucky person is going to win £500 worth of stuff. 2 lucky people are going to win £250 worth of stuff. How amazing would that be to have under your tree to open at Christmas? I'd save it, open it up like, wow, who's this from? Look at these amazing presents. That's what I'd be doing. So if you literally buy anything, you could buy those £1 inserts, those £1 inserts that are about to go. You could get those. You could get anything you want, but have a look online at Hunky Dory Crafts because there's loads and loads of things on there. To have a look at our Black Friday deals. I think it's going to run quite a long way through this month. So there's loads of time to enter. When's someone going to be picked for this, Emily?
It'll be on Cyber Monday.
On Cyber Monday. So that's the 1st.
Yeah, I think it is.
The 1st of December? Sometime in December, I think. Oh no.
30th of November.
The 30th of November. So on the 30th of November, make sure you're watching because we're going to give these amazing prizes away. I've just talked about too many giveaways. It's crazy. We have a Win It Weekly competition, people. Our Win It Weekly competition is an amazing competition we run every single week. You're going to get this week, the Mirri Magic Twas the Night Before Christmas collection. This is really good. You've got toppers included in here. You've got cardstock in here, all in that fantastic Mirri. There's 4 winners this week, which I think is always fantastic because you never just get one. You always get a great amount of winners. So this is the prize, and the question is, you need to like, share and comment on the video. Oh, it's a riddle. This is cool. What is more useful when it's broken? A match, rules, or an egg? I'm a stickler for sticking to the rules, so I'm going to say it's not B. So it's either going to be A or C. But have your guesses, comment with what your guesses are, like and share this video, and you will be in with a chance of winning this topper collection worth $24.99. That is amazing. I love this collection. I love making cards with this collection. There's so many. Just looking at the cards that are on the front, there's so much inspiration for what you can be doing here. And if you've not started Christmas crafting yet, I know some people have, but if you haven't, you can get away with that. There's so many people joining us today, so let's have a look. I hope everyone's like all settled and ready to go, and you've got a brew. I don't have a brew today, but let's I would tell you what I have, but you'll probably judge me like Emily did before. So we won't go there today. But let's see. Loads of people are joining us. Hello, hello, hello. Julie says she bought the box pops, acetate boxes, inserts, and the floral tag pad. You have to show us what you craft with this stuff that you buy as well, because we have a fantastic gallery now on our hub page where you can comment with all of your photographs of your makes, and then we show them on our Hunky Dory TV. I think on Fridays we have a little look at those that are in our gallery. So if you're making, lots of people are saying an egg, but I'm not sure about whether it's an egg or whether an egg's the easier one to guess, but it could be a match. But it doesn't really break, does it? So possibly it's an egg. Anyway, get your comments in. I like to think about things a bit too much like that. I like to really delve into what the answer could be and the possibilities of which or what, but hey ho, that's just me. So today, we've done our Win It Weekly. What's next to come up? We've done that. Let's just get into it. Let's crack on. So, our amazing brush markers. Let's get into it. They are absolutely fantastic. You've got the 4 different colours. Like I said, these are mine, so they're a little bit messy. But these are the 4 colours that you're going to get in your bundle pack. Not that one. That's in the extras. So you're going to get 4 colours here. So these are the first 2. So you can see on the bottom, like the spectrum of the colours that you're going to get. You've got like those reds to orange in that heavenly sunset with the deeper browns in there. In the Blue Lagoons, you've got a really nice selection of blues that all work really nice together. Moving into those sort of darker shades, which are great for creating your sunsets. Then we have our Berry Burst, which is a really nice selection of pinks and purples. And then our Forest Walk. This is a beautiful, beautiful selection of colours. So these are what you're going to get included in that bundle today for $39.99, which is the cheapest price we've ever got. And then we've got 2 other sets which you can buy together in a bundle as well. So if you've already got the first ones, then you can get these second ones. These are our Antique Dreams and Rainbow Pastels. So you can see they're really dark and light colours that we don't have in the other selections. They also work really well just together, which we'll show you a little later on. If you're going to use your Prism brush markers, there is one thing you also need to get, and that is your Prism Premium Pad of Watercolor card. This card is like the best thing to use with these pens. When we got the pens and we were testing them out and trying them out, we needed to have a cardstock because no matter what pens you use, if you don't have the right base card to work with them, they're never going to perform to their best abilities. Whereas this Prism watercolor card was tested and tried by me and Anne-Marie and Sheila so many times. We had little sheets that Adam would bring from different suppliers and we would try them out, try lots of different things, but this card is great. I've got a piece. Let's use this pad here. So this is my pad, which is very, very used. And I'm not sure whether you can see, but when you get this home and you're looking at it, it's not sort of like hammered or thick card. It's a nice consistency of thin and sort of like that thick. You can see sort of like the paper and how it's like intertwined when you look really closely, but it's a really good sturdy cardstock. It's 300 GSM, which is perfect for using with your watercolors because it can hold a lot of water, especially when you're going super, super crazy. The Prism brush markers, and my favorite thing about them is that they are dual tipped. So you've got I'm not sure which is going to be best here, Emily. There we go. So you've got the fine liner end, you've got the brush marker end, sorry, and then you have a fine liner end on each side. The fine liner is great for all those little details you've got in your drawings, different things like that. The brush nib is really quite nice. It's got this really nice cone shape, and that's perfect for doing your brush lettering with. Let me do it like that so you can actually see. Because some people use paintbrushes, but the thing with paintbrushes is that when you go to draw with them, and we'll show you. So with your marker pen here, because it is that cone shape and it is like a nib, it's not bristles, you're never going to get sort of like that sort of like flaky movement if you were going to draw with it or do lines with it. You're always going to get that clear colour throughout the whole of your drawing. I'm the worst person to do this, by the way. Can we just say that? Like my vocabulary is not the best for a masterclass. However, we're gonna carry on. So if you were to do this with a paintbrush, and let me just demonstrate this for you. Let me here we go, got a block here. and I've got a water brush which is sort of like separate bristles. So this is our largest water brush. Now these are unavailable at the moment, but if you do have them, you can use these. So if I was going to do the same thing with this water brush, when it gets to the end, you can see those bristles. Let me bring that right up because it's gone a bit looser. You can see those bristles. You can see where they are and where they draw. And that is why these pens are really great, because they're going to give you full coverage all the time with this nib. They're also really great for people who are into calligraphy and brush lettering, because depending on like the pressure you put on, you can get different sort of scales in the writing, which is really, really useful when you're doing brush lettering, because it gives you that sort of bouncy, fun effect. There's loads of different ways to colour in with these too. So I've got here, I've just stamped using the stamps that we launched when we launched this collection. This is our Simply Floral stamp collection, and I've just used the rose here to do this. And we've stamped it a few times in VersaFine. Now you need to use permanent ink because these are water-based, which is also really good because it means like they're non-toxic, and they're not going to harm anyone. They're great for using with kids if you want to. I'm just going to take two colours from my pinks. Let's put that one back. So I always keep my water brushes, I keep everything actually in the packaging, and I always keep them sort of flat because you want to have the solution sort of equally spread across the two channels. So there's lots of different ways that we can colour in with this, with these pens. So you can go straight onto the image and you can colour it in, and then you can, just using the one colour, you can then use your water brush and blend that colour in. If you want to have more of a vibrant colour, because this is really, really light on here. If we hold it up, you can see there, you're just using one colour, colouring in those edges and then bringing it out with your water brush. If you want it to be a bit more darker, what you can do is you can use a darker shade from the colours. I'm just going to go in here with that darker pink and then use the lighter colour to sort of move from that section. So the blending you can do sort of using water without using water because you've got such a large selection of colours, or you can just then use your pen to blend them together. Another really cool thing you can do with them is if I take my lightest colour and I hold the darker colour on top of there and just sort of pick up and transfer the colour from one nib to another, then you can take the pen, colour it in, and it will sort of automatically, once that darker colour has run out, go into the lighter colour, which is a really cool way of doing it. And then once we've finished, if we just scribble this down here to get rid of that darker colour. So you can transfer the colours, which is really, really useful. Just to say as well, if anyone has any questions on these brush markers, if you let us know in the comments, we're going to do a little section where we're going to read out your questions and possibly answer them, and possibly I can do some demonstrations which will help in that way. So there's loads of different ways that you can use these pencils. The last one, which is possibly my favourite way to use them, I know loads of people have their own ways and everyone does lots of things differently, is using an acrylic block and creating a palette for your colours, and then you can use your water brush to sort of create a colour here, and then colour with the water brush. Now I like to do this because it gives you more of that sort of loose feel with your water brushes. It's a lot more, it's a very different from the first one where we directly put the pen on the paper and then added water. And you can mix the colours here as well. So instead of just having two colours, you can mix both colours together directly onto your sheet. And then you've got a different array of colours. So if we hold this up so you can see, you've got, they look completely different. They are a lot darker. I wish I could, I don't know how to do it. If we hold it that way, that's better, isn't it? It is a lot darker, but you can see this one here at the top is adding the colour first and then dragging it out with your water brush. This one is just adding both colours directly to the cardstock and then mixing it in the centre. This one is sort of using the pen and taking the colour directly from one pen to another and then colouring it in. So that one's a lot darker. But then this one is my favourite. It does look really light on here, but it does give you more of that really nice loose watercolour finish, which I think is really, really great with these pens. Another really nice thing that you can do with them is you can directly colour in your stamp. So if I take the stamp that we've used on this, and then I'm going to use, it's best to use really dark colours when you do this. So I'm going to get our brightest pink, which is number 229. I read that upside down then, I was like, this is confusing. And then I'm going to colour in just my flower. And you'll have seen me do this, I think last Monday we coloured in a stamp with our pens. But this allows you to do sort of lineless colouring, which will make a whole lot of sense when I stamp this down. So we'll stamp the image like so. You can see that there. So it's using that colour, and then I'm going to do it the way that I just did it, although I've used that one. Here we go. There's stuff everywhere today. And then using my water brush, I might use the thinnest one actually for this. You can go in with the colour when it's a little bit more washed down so you can see the difference. And then colouring this in, obviously you're gonna colour in the lines as well, so the water sort of spreads and you get that colourless, the lineless drawing. So it's a lot more softer than these ones that we've got here, but just dragging that colour from sort of like the edges. You don't want to drag it too much because then it looks like a washed mess, but using the colour off the palette and then just going over to soften those edges, it gives you that really nice effect that you would see if you watch like someone like water painting. I watch people on Instagram all the time doing this. I can spend hours scrolling through pointless videos of people colouring in. It's insane. It looks completely different, doesn't it? Yeah. So that it's the same image, but the way that we've coloured it in creates a total different array of the stamp. And you could have, because they're pens as well, you could have coloured the stem in a green and done the same with the flowers. But it gives it more of an artistic feel, I think, if that's what you want to go for. It's really lovely. Let me hold it up so you can see.
Shelley's asked, how do you clean your water pens?
My water pens, well, it's just a funnel. So if I get, using like Blue Roll or just a wipe, you can sort of push more water out until it's whatever is running through is clear. Now some pens and some inks, depending on what you're using, will sort of stain the water brush. So like this one that I have is a bit blue, but that doesn't affect the colour because you can just clean it off and then move on to the next thing. So using this technique that we have here, we're going to create a nice little card for you. So we're going to do two things today based on sort of colouring with these stamps. The first one that we're going to do is, in the way that we just did that last flower, we're going to do like a nice watercolour effect. So I'm using the same stamp set again, but I'm using the largest flower here. And I'm also using this stamp, which is our thanks. And these stamps are great for if you're not sort of a really confident brush letterer, or it's something that you don't even want to try, because it does take a lot of practice to get confident with it. I'm still not fully confident, but I do like to try it. But these are great because it's just an outline stamp, so then once you've stamped it, you can colour it in yourself and get that perfect brush lettering. And so this is stamp 514, which is on our thing, thank you Emily, and it's $4.99. And then the bigger stamp that we're going to use, which is our Simply Floral stamp set, is 8, but they're on that fantastic 3 for 2, which is a really great thing that we do. So what I did was I've stamped my sentiment in the centre, so you can see it does have a darker edge, and then on top of it I've used masking fluid, which you can get from any sort of craft stores, art stores. It is really sort of an arty thing that we do, but what this does, just like our masking sheets, which you could have actually used here, you could have stamped this onto a masking sheet and then used a knife to cut it around the lettering, then placed it on top. It just allows you to be able to stamp on top of here, but you're not going to get anything on this image. So I'm going to use, again, my darker colours. This time I'm going to change it up though. I'm going to use the colours from our pastels, our antique set, which are really sort of deep colours. And I'm going to use the darkest red, and we're going to go in with a really nice deep green colour for the flowers. Yeah, let's do that. So just holding my stamp up, I'm just going to lay the colour onto the stamped image, and I'm just getting it onto the image where I want that colour to be. So obviously just trying to stick to those petals, but if it does go onto the other flowers, it's not the end of the world, because you are creating quite a watercolour effect here, so it will look really good. And then again with the green on here. Let me know if you have your watercolour pens already, and what you like to do with your watercolour pens as well. So there's so much you can do. I mean, the handbook is full of loads of great tips, and there's some fantastic projects that you can do within the handbook. But let me know if you like to do any certain things. So now we have our stamp coloured in. I'm just going to go directly on top of where my text is, and I'm making sure that I'm applying as much pressure as possible, and it's going to give me that nice outline. So then we're just going to repeat that process until I've got enough of the image that I want below there. So just add in the colour each time, because it will, because you want it to be as dark as possible when you're laying it on top. Emily, you're an artiste.
I'm arty.
You are a fantastic drawer. What do you like to colour with? Or are you just more of like a super fancy?
I'm more of a charcoal colourer.
Okay.
Shader. But I have used just normal watercolour
Paints.
and acrylic paint as well.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah. I just find it really relaxing.
It is super relaxing. Colouring is the most...
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's so therapeutic, especially at this time when, you know, you need something to just, yeah, you can't go to the shop and spend £150 in Primark. You can't go to the gym and run for an hour and feel like you no longer want to punch the man in the supermarket that stood too close to you. So you need something to really focus your mind on, and colouring is one of those things. It's really important to have something to focus on, and definitely colouring is one of them. I think I've spent quite a lot of time actually in recent weeks sort of colouring with things that I'm not particularly that sort of good at, I would say, because it's only been recently that I've really got into colouring with my my brush markers and sort of trying out new things like these techniques, and really learning and getting to grips with the pens and how fantastic they are, because before that I was more just into my alcohol markers, but they both have amazing qualities, and I really like sort of the washed look that you can create with these. No, I think it's something that people don't necessarily think of, but it gives you a totally different way of using your stamps for sure. So let's just stamp this last one up here. And I think as well, when you're doing it in this way, if you were doing it just in black, you'd have to create masks for each stamp so that it layered really nicely. Whereas with this, because it's just light lines and you're going to colour in where you want your focus colour to be, it's a lot easier. So I've pulled that off now. Next thing is to remove the masking. So I'm just using, you can use a rubber to do this, I'm just using my finger, but be very careful because obviously this ink is water based, so it takes a while to dry, so you might get a bit of colour on that wording which you didn't want. You want it to be nice and neat. Da, 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 da.
Shadia, I think that's how she said it, I don't know how to pronounce her name. She likes to colour the stamp and then spritz it with water.
Yeah,
And then stamp.
that's a really good way to doing it because it just allows the colour to flow a bit more. So you can just add your water to it. These are great for backgrounds as well, which we'll get into once we've finished this card off, because they're great to just blend out and create some nice backgrounds with. So we've got our image here. I can see the words. For you it probably looks like a big jumbled mess, but if we hold this up, you can see now how it hasn't stamped on that thanks image. And then with my water brushes, I'm going to lay down the colours, and then I'm going to use two different sizes because we have that option. So my green is going to be for my leaves, and I'm just going to create that really nice washed look. I'm not being super specific with where I'm laying the colour down, and I think that's the best thing about these with watercolour pencils, is that you have the ability to be super careful and colour in really neatly, or you can just be quite relaxed with where you allow the ink to go, and the images that you create is really fun. So going in and around those letters, because I want to try and keep the letters white. We are going to do colour those in so you can see just how fantastic they are. But first of all, just want to colour in my image here. I saw someone comment before that she was so engrossed that she hadn't actually commented, and I feel you, because I can tell that I'm not talking quite as much as I normally would, because it super focuses your mind. It's quite intense how overwhelming it can be, and how it can just sort of like take over your whole mind. It is. It's strange. So I'm just loosely adding colour here. Once you've got your first layer, you can then go in with the same colour and add some dimension if you wish to. So you can make certain parts of your leaves a bit darker, certain parts of your flowers a bit darker. But it's so soothing. It really is.
It's become very popular as well, colouring in recent days.
I think so.
Especially amongst adults.
Yeah, colouring is fun. Colouring is so fun. So then with our darker colour, let's just go in here and get these petals, these little bits.
Lynn Parry's asked how you clean your stamps afterwards. Do you use just water?
I use our stamp cleaner actually. So we have a fantastic stamp cleaner here at Hunky Dory, which is a solution of, sorry, I'm getting too engrossed in this. It's like, it's a solution which is perfect for cleaning your stamps with. So we sell it in a spray. You can just spray it, and then I have like a microfiber cloth, and then I spray it down, leave it for a bit just to get in all the grooves of your stamps and stuff, and then I'll use like a cloth just to clean it up, because I hate my stamps being messy. Everything has to be super clean. Sometimes it can take a while for it to get there, but I do like everything to be super neat and tidy. So now I'm just going around the words here.
It's looking really pretty now. I like it a lot.
Thanks, Emily. It's just a really nice way of colouring in with your stamps, but not having those lines, and it looks like you kind of drew it yourself actually, like you would if when you see the super cool people online who spend hours watercolouring amazing backgrounds. And you can do this with any stamp as well. It doesn't have to be these types of stamps. You could have a nice bird from one of our stamper cards. You could colour that in and then create like a more realistic image with it. Da, da, da. I'm nearly finished. I've just got a few more flowers to do, and I'm trying to avoid my my writing here, but we're going to colour that in as well. I wanted to give that sort of white base look first of all. So let's just go in with a bit more colour in the centre of my flowers, and that will sort of spread out as we go. If I hold this up now, you can see how you've got those words, and you can just see them, but they are within those flowers. And then I'm going to use my fine liner, because the fine liner is the best bit. And I'm using the same pink that I've used on the flowers, and we're going to go over the edge of the words, which is really easy to follow because I stamped them earlier on. I forgot to tell you the ink that I used. So I used the lightest grey which we have, which is grey, grey marl, I think it is. So that's the lightest grey in our Watercolor Prism inks. So then just following that line as like a guide, and then if any colour has got onto this nice white space, it's not going to be as super obvious, but it also just makes those words stand out from the background that you created. Oops, my lines are getting thicker. It's a super fine nib on these brush markers, so it does allow you to create really thin lines, but if you want to, you can just like go over them and then they obviously get thicker. So if you wanted some bits to be thicker, you can do that. If you wanted some bits to be not as thick, we can do that as well. Is my head in the way? I'm very surprised if it's not.
How long do these pens last, Natalie?
I'm not sure. I think with good care. I mean, I've had these. These are my.
Way to store them.
So you need to store them flat. So if you store them flat, then the colour distribution in the centre lasts like the best. But I've had these ones since we launched them 2 years ago now. I believe it was. Maybe 1. I'm not quite sure. But so these are my first set. I've not got a different set yet. So they've lasted a really long time, and I do use them like every week. But obviously they're like everything, it's a tool, so as long as you look after it, it'll last a really long time. And just finishing off now, going around that T. And obviously, because it is water based, if you did get some colour within those lines, if you use a water brush and just add colour to it, you can lift the colour off it. So then all I've got to do now is put this onto a card blank. I'm hoping that I have the right size.
Ronan said you could do with some elevator music playing so you don't have to talk while
I do need some elevator music. We need Dan in here. We need Dan in here doing his elevator music. That's what we need. Okay. So then, just with some of our double-sided tape, I'm gonna that's not gonna work. I've lost everything in here. I'm looking for the picker. Yeah. But it's okay. So then this will fit onto our card blank. I think this is a little bit big actually, so I might just have to trim that edge off. And there we go. So you have that beautiful sort of bouquet that you've created with that stamp, but because you've not used sort of like black, it gives it a really more nice softer tone, and it looks nice. Julie says, I missed how you blocked off that image, so I stamped it using grey marl, and then using a paintbrush I used masking fluid, which you can get from like a craft store. I think we sell it here. We definitely have it at Inspirations, so I would presume that we sell it here. and then you just draw over it. You can use masking sheet too if you don't have masking fluid. Stamp onto that, cut it out, stick it on top, and just create that nice white space. So that's a really nice way of a different way of colouring with these pens. Next off, I want to show you just how amazing they blend and how you can create really cool backgrounds. So we're going to do it in 3 different ways again, so you can see how this works. And then let's go for some different colours. So I'm going to have a selection of colours here. It's going to take me about 10 years to put them all back in the packaging. But we're going to use our blues. I'm going to use 3 different colours. So again, I'm going to go and just colour these in. We've got that nice light blue, that turquoisey blue, and then we've got like a darker blue. So going straight onto the cardstock and then using your water brush, sort of flood the paper, putting pressure on the valve as you're going down, is going to create that background. And then if I just clean that off so the darker bit is removed, then we can go back in and pull it out even further and mix those colours together. So then you're getting like a nice sort of ombre mix with the colours. The other way in which you can do it, and this way is definitely Anne-Marie's favourite way, just move this stamp off this stamping block, and I'll use the same 3 colours so you can see the difference. I'm going to colour onto an acrylic block my 3 colours. Oh no, oh! I just knocked the camera. Are we straight? I moved my hand up like you normally do to like wing away. Wing away. Oh no, this is Emily, I've moved it.
It's fine.
It's kind of straight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Normally in the office when the lights go off, you do this crazy thing with your hands to turn them all back on, and I just whack the camera away. So 3 colours on here. Then I'm using a spritzer, which has just got water in, and I'm going to spritz onto the block like so. Then I'm going to also spritz my page. This just allows the colour to flow a bit more, and then we will flip this down and lie this on top. And then once we've let it just move around the paper a bit and we lift that up, it does move around loads. You get a lighter, let's just push it around. You get a lighter colour. We may have used a bit too much water there, but you get definitely a lot lighter and more washed effect. It's not specific in the way that the colour lies. You don't get as many sort of lines in it as you would do. It's going to take a while to dry, but once it's dry you'll be able to see it better. But you can just see how you can create 2 different really nice ombre effects by doing this. Another way, and I think this is possibly my favourite way to do it, because like you saw when I lifted this up, all the colour sort of ran to one place. But if you want to have this effect, but you want to have it more concentrated, so the colours are where you want them to be, you're just going to spritz the page to make the base nice and wet. I need my big one, the big one. So make the base nice and wet. Then I'm going to put my colours down onto an acrylic block, and you want as much colour as you can on here. They make this fantastic noise which annoys everyone in the office when you're colouring in a really large project. And then what you can do is you pick the colour up and you can place it where you want it to go. So if you want a mixture of colours, or you don't want them, you want them to be sort of like this ombre look but not as regimented, you can place the colour down. Maybe we'll put some more up here, put some in this a bit around here as well. And then you can just keep going and mixing these colours on the page and adding more colour to your block as well. It's going with the darker one again. So then you'll have more bits that are darker than lighter, and you can create like your image more specific than the smooshing, because you don't really have control over where the colour lies, where the ink sits. But with this, because you're placing it onto that wet part of the card, you can direct the colour better. So when I'm creating smooshy backgrounds, I tend to prefer to do it this way because I have more control over where it goes, whereas on this one it doesn't. I do love when you do this because you could create some really cool effects, and then if we do it this way but in this sort of style where we're laying the colours where you want them to be, you can then add your water in, or we can spritz it and the colour sort of moves around. So there's loads of different ways that you can create sort of these really watercolour, smooshy, ombre-y backgrounds. I'm going to hold this up again because I'm aware that it doesn't look, you can't see it as much. This is really wet this side, so that's still moving around. But you can see how, if we do that so the light's not on it as much, you can see how the different colours, you're sort of concentrating the darker edges around the side here. This one, it's just done that because the colour sort of disperses and then leaves this nice edge around the centre. This one is more specific because we put the colours on and then we did it. And then this one is going to just spread where where you spray the water onto, because you've added the water second after you've done the nice bits and pieces. So that is how we do that. My favourite technique with these pens though, and this is going to be our last sort of demo of today, because I don't want to bore you all for too long, is layering with your pens. So you can create some really fun backgrounds with this. Again, I'm going to use a block to put my colours onto, and we're going to use our darker colours and our greens for this, and we're going to do a little project with this as well. But first of all, I just want to show you how you can do this. So let's start off with our greens. We're just going to do circles with this first of all. So I've got lots of different coloured greens, and I'm not going to use a lot of water. Obviously you need some to be able to mix it, but because they are watercolours, you can add these on here, disperse the colour, and then what you can do is you can go in with second colours and layer these on top. And if you do lighter colours, and then we switch it up, so let's just wait for that to dry. Then you can create like colours on top of colours. You do, see if that is a bit more dry. And it gives you that sort of, do you remember when you were in school and you used to get those colour charts?
Yeah.
And the colours were like mixed together,
Yeah.
and then you saw what colours it made. You get that. you get that sort of effect, so you can layer the colours really nicely. There's a really good project actually in here that shows you how to do this as well. So all of these techniques that we've shown you today, this one here, using the same colour and going over that once they're dry, you can create some really nice things. And there's, I'm trying to find the project that shows you how to do it. Is it in here? Maybe it's not. I'm sure it was because I was looking at it yesterday. Maybe it's in... Maybe it's at the front. Oh, this one here on the front of the card. Duh. So you can use your lighter colours, create those circles, but then you get that sort of mixture of colours, and that's the next thing that we're going to use for our next sort of project that we're going to make today. So I'm super excited about this because, like some people out there, and I'm sure many people out there are feeling this way, I'm in a super Christmassy mood. I mean, this year is already a write-off, so no, I'm not that far yet. No, I mean, me too. Let us know if you've got your Christmas tree up. I actually, driving home from Peterborough last night, they played Christmas, they played Mariah Carey.
There's an actual radio channel that just plays Christmas.
Just Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what I'm going to do is create a nice sort of, using that effect of layering, a layered wreath. So we've just got this circle here, which is from our stands here in the studio, but you could use a protractor, which is a good thing to use, or you could use a plate, anything that has a circle circumference. So this is a piece of 8x8 watercolor card, which I've made from our A4 pad, which I believe is on a very good deal on Friday. So don't get too hasty, because you can definitely you can definitely get that watercolor card on a great deal. But then, because I'm going to do some brush lettering in the middle, I'm going to use, I would use a ruler, but I can't find one. So this is a straight, our acrylic blocks are straight, so we'll use that. And I'm just going to create 2 lines for our text to go on. Then I did a little bit of practicing before on the different types of leaves that I wanted to do, and obviously I did some practicing with my wording too, just in pencil. But I've got sort of like these dropped leaves that I want to use, and then obviously wreaths have ferns in, so you have to use them. So we're going to pick our greens. So our greens we're going to use from our darkest colour. Now I'm going to use the big thing because I want to have, let's do it like this so you can see. I want to have a lot of colour on here. I'm going for the darkest greens in my, for my antiques colour. Oh, that's a good green. So I'm just going to put my colour down, and you probably will use more than this. And then I'm going to take a dark green from this one, because I think this one's a bit more greeny. I know there's so many greens on here, but wreaths have lots of different colours, and using the different greens is going to allow us to create some really nice layering effects. So I'm going to use my largest brush. I think we're going to use this green again actually, so let's put down a lot of this green first, because this is going to be our base for this. And then this, our biggest water brush, or a big sort of brush that you have, will work great for this. So I'm working on the outside of my circle that I've created, and I'm just going to push the colour around to create like loose leaves. So you're creating this yourself really, and you don't have to be like super artsy to do this, because it's just shapes and colours. So these are my first, this is going to be my first layer, and I'm not sure if it's a little bit too bright, so I'm going to try and just add a bit more colour to get that a little bit more opaque when we put it down. There we go, that's a bit better. It's a bit too light actually. But you can always add more colour in.
Do you get a real Christmas tree or a fake one?
We've had a real Christmas tree for quite some time. I don't know what we'll get this year because Dan said I couldn't have a real one because there was too many pines everywhere. And then when it comes to like trying to get rid of it, the smell is really good. So I'll try and win the battle of a real one, but we'll see. We'll see. So I'm not gonna do these ones all the way around. We're gonna sort of section it off. But I'm gonna do these ones around here in sort of like a loose pattern as you would imagine them to be. I'm probably going to change up the style and do like maybe 3 in some, 4 in others, so it's not all super symmetrical as well. And you could do this technique for any time of the year. You could do one that's like quite spring colours, do some flowers on here, maybe use some of your stamps if you're not super confident with this sort of way of doing it. But honestly, I'm in no way a super crazy artist here. I'm just making some leaves. Starting off with that base of having that circle, having that sort of place to follow is really good too. I've added too much water now, so let's just clean this up a little bit. Just remove some of that water from there. I wanted them to be a bit more rounder as well, like eucalyptus leaves. They're super round. So you just make them bigger on top.
Did you say you got a new plant?
Oh my god, yeah.
Is it still alive?
Yeah. Well, one leaf fell off, but that leaf wasn't well when I got it. I have a Hardy's elephant ear. If you want to Google Hardy's elephant ear, they are huge. So yeah, in this time of my life, I've become a plant mum. We've got a few spider plants around the house.
It's like the little love heart shaped leaves.
They're huge.
Oh my,
They're massive. They grow. This is a house plant. They grow up to 30 centimeters.
Wow.
It's huge, Emily. And I was doing my little being a house plant mother on Sunday, going around feeding all my house plants. And Dan was like, "Are you supposed to do that?" So I was like, "I'm not sure. I'd Google it." So I Googled whether you were supposed to, like, because my rubber plant I had before, you were supposed to spritz the leaves.
Yeah.
But with this one, you're not. And I'd done that. So then I was like, "Oh no, I'm going to kill it again." So I had to go and get, I went and got the tea towel and dried the leaves off. Dan was honestly, he's just sat laughing at me. Like, "You should not buy any more plants." I'm like, "Why? I like the plants.
They look nice and they're good for you.
They are so good for you. Honestly, I love the house looking like a jungle. I'd have them everywhere if I could." So then another one here. So then we've got one sort of style of leaf here on our wreath. And then next up, we're going to change up our colour. So let's move this out of the way. And we're going to go for like those ferny leaves. These ones here. So I'm going to use this darker colour to do that, because I think fern leaves are always quite dark, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And then we're just going to create like a line first of all. I'm going to do a couple actually on this. Create a line. And then our point, we're going to use the smaller one. Our point on this, when you actually draw a line, let's use this as an example. When you draw a line, the back of the line is always the thinner one. So we're actually going to do these bits backwards. So I'm going to go from the centre and like flick my water out. But we're going to keep doing this and just layering it up.
Oh, this is really nice. Lynn in Paris says, I have a spider plant.
Love
called
spider plants.
Sid.
Sid.
In her bathroom.
I don't.
Nan gave her a cutting from a spider plant when she first left home 33 years ago, and she's had one ever since.
Do you know what, Lynn? That is exactly where our spider plants came from. So our spider plants came from Dan's granddad. We went round to see them, and he'd been growing them, and he was like, do you want this? And I was like, yeah, love a plant. So we have 2 spider plants. They don't have names though. We should definitely name them. But my big new plant is called Bridget.
Bridget.
I named it Bridget. I thought it was a great name, to be, in fact. And it is. It's a fantastic name, Bridget. But yeah, I love spider plants. We have 2. One in the bathroom and one in the kitchen. But they are from the same original plant that Dan's granddad made and gave to us. So again, just filling in those spaces. And the best thing about this is because you've got that layering technique, even when you go over the other leaves that we've created, it's not going to look unnecessary. It's going to look really nice and layered and like it fits in perfectly. And you get the different tones of the colours as well. I'm actually going to mix in a bit of this dark green to here and just go in with some more darker green bits onto this, because it does look a little bit blue. But that's where the beauty of this comes in, because you can just add loads of different colours, loads of different like layers onto here. But because it's this really beautiful watercolour, it like all shines through, which I really, really love. So we can flick out. I'm not flicking out, I'm flicking in.
Michelle named her rhubarb plant Audrey.
Oh,
Probably for Shop of Horrors.
love the name Audrey. My grandma has a friend called Audrey. It's a good name. But yeah, because they're brothers, I feel like they should have like a coordinating names, I feel. Well, send me some names, send me some name ideas for what we should call my spider plants. We already have, what did I say? I've forgotten already. We've already got Bridget, which is my amazing new.
Bob and Bridget.
Bob would be good.
Brenda.
Oh yes. Maybe Brenda's in the bathroom. And then
Becky.
Brenda's in the bathroom, and then my spider plant in the kitchen can be called Kenneth. Kenneth and Brenda, the spider plants.
What, Kenneth?
I'm going to have a text message when I get out of here from my dad saying, what on earth is wrong with you today? Naming your plants.
Tracy Williams said, my mum calls everything Fred, even a Christmas turkey. You can't name a Christmas turkey.
You know, I think you can't do that. I wouldn't want to eat it.
No.
I wouldn't be able to go there.
Name it, it becomes personal.
I'm sorry, we can't. We can name plants, we can name lots of different things, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to eat anything on the Christmas table if it had a name. I'm just going to add some more of these colours. It's this one that we're using, because it's getting a bit lighter now and we want to keep sort of that colour throughout. And we're just going to speed it up a little bit. But I love doing stuff like this. And I think wreaths are a really good way to start as well, because leaves you don't really have to be super specific with. You can just sort of go off the cuff a little bit. And have them sort of all over the place. I'm going with that darker green just to mix that up. but it is super, super therapeutic doing this. I could do this for hours. We're going to add some berries as well, just to give it a bit more of a Christmas look, because at the moment I don't think it's super Christmassy. I think you could probably get away with this for maybe a wedding and put the bride and groom's name in the middle. Even a new baby. You could definitely use this.
There's so many new babies at the minute as well.
Lots and lots. Lockdown babies.
It's a great time for crafting, really.
Really good time to craft. There's so many different occasions as well this time of the year that you can make some really beautiful things for. So let's do. We're nearly finished, I promise.
And there's a greater emphasis this year on buying homemade items.
Oh,
from
definitely.
Small businesses, so you know, the viewers watching have got their own little
Online craft shops.
Yeah, share it. Love to see what.
Get doing things. Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a handmade Christmas for sure.
Definitely.
And making things like this and giving them to people, you know, even just to decorate the house with, because we're gonna, I've got a frame, so I am gonna put this in a frame once we've finished. But it's such a lovely sentiment to give someone something that you have made. I always say this, and I think for the past, even if I buy stuff, I always try and make some things at Christmas to give to people. There's a great Dr. Seuss quote. You'll have to find it, Emily. There's a great quote from the Grinch about handmade Christmas. Something about happiness being handmade. It's my favourite quote. It's so good. Where was we to? Let's add another one. From the Grinch, I'm sure. Or it's Dr. Seuss. It's definitely Dr. Seuss. So I think we've probably got enough leafy bits in here now. And you can really see how this is sort of building up, and you've got all the different layers in there. You've got some twigs that are on top of the bigger leaves. You've got some bigger ones. If you want to go crazy, you can add loads more to this. But what we're going to do is just add some little sprigs of berries. So I'm using the super dark reds from our antique colours. I might mix them together actually, because one's quite pink and one's quite red, so I think together they'll look really nice. And then we're just going to place these sort of on top of our already very nice, starting to come together wreath. Do some smaller bundles and some bigger ones. I can't think how it even starts, but it's definitely, I can't think if it was from the Grinch or not now, Emily.
He's got so many clothes.
He does. He's quite spectacular himself, really, isn't he? I'm gonna put more of this darker colour down, just to go in and make these a bit more prominent on here. But yeah, taking the time to make something that's going to obviously bring you quite a lot of joy, and take up some time. And crafting is the best form of therapy, I think, and crafting with pens and inks and colours, there's so much that you can create. You can get really, really super creative with things like this.
Michelle said, is it maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store?
Yes.
Maybe Christmas means a little bit more.
That is exactly the one. Christmas is the best handmade thing. I would be making ornaments and everything if I had the time to do it. I tried to make them the first year that we had Christmas with my littlest nephew Elliot. We tried to do some Christmassy stuff, but it's got a little bit too. It never ended up working. I was trying to do like hand ornaments in paper clay. So now we have our wonderful wreath. I'm going to just add in with a brown. And I'm going to have to be really specific with which brown I use here. Probably this one. And with my fine liner bit, I'm just going to add in like some little like berry sprigs going into that, into my piece, and it's just going to add another little bit of added texture as well. But I am I'm not excited for Christmas because obviously it's going to be very different, but it is something nice to look forward to, isn't it? Definitely, for sure. So I've got my wreath done now. All that is left to do is to letter my sentiment. I think I'm going to stick with the red. Maybe I use the darker colour. Let's just test it out and see what one is going to be the colour we go with. They're very similar, but they aren't. If I hold it up, this one's a bit more purpley.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with this one. So then, I am no sort of brush letter novice.
Oh,
so what?
don't be so
I'm
modest.
really not. But what I love to do before I do this is to use a pencil and just sort of sketch out what I'm going to do. And I've kind of figured out the style. I want it to be quite bouncy. So I've done a little bit of practice in here. And you know what? The best thing to do here, go online, type in whatever you want your sentiment to be, calligraphy or brush letter. There's thousands online.
Trace it, can't you?
Yeah, you could trace it, but there are absolutely thousands and thousands of bits online of this type of style of lettering that you can practice with. And I think that this is going to be a bit too over that side actually, but then we can just, because I've not done it in my pen, I've not ruined it already, we can just rub it out. So I'm following the lines because I've got lines on here that we drew earlier, but then because you're using a pen, you can just rub it out, the bits that don't work. And then once I've kind of got it down how I want it to be, that's more central. And then with my Christmas, I'm gonna go in like this. A brush lettering as well. We have some fantastic tips within the book. We also have a great download section on our website, which you can go to and sort of print off things to practice. I think we've got an alphabet on there, so you can practice your lettering. So I've kind of got it how I want it to look. If I bring it up closer, can you see? So we've got our words in there now. So then with that pen, I'm going with the darker one, I think. Yeah, we're going, oh, nervous now, I'm nervous. Okay, are we ready? The most important thing is the pressure that you put on here. So when you're going down, you want your strokes to be quite heavy, but when you're going up, you don't want them to be as heavy. I'm just going to go a bit higher with this. Oh. And you don't have to do it all in one go. You can very easily do it in little sections, like I'm doing. And that's a great way to sort of get that different weight on your letters. If you go down and then back up. And then back up. And then my Y, I'm going to go down, and then up, and then down, and then around. So my Merry, when I look at this now, it doesn't look like it's spelt right, but it definitely is. And then for the Christmas, I'm terrible at spelling as well. If anyone knows me, they'll know how scary this moment is for me. Because I'm bound to spell it wrong at some point. And then up, back down.
Zara Harper's holding her breath while
I'm holding my breath, Zara. My hand is so shaky. I'm not sure if you can see on camera, but my hand is so shaky right now. It's so funny.
In fact, a lot of people are holding their breath.
But don't rush it. You can take your time with doing this. And practice is definitely what is required when doing this. My little eye. Okay, 3 letters left. I've got no spelling mistakes. We're doing okay. Oh, I'm getting shaky now. This is stressful.
Your little bumming in between.
And then if there's any little bits that you want to add more or less to, you can do that now. You can use your fine liner to go in and sort of make edges look a bit neater on your words, like I'm going to do with that R there. I've just got some colour on here, but it's okay because we can pull it off. And then once it's dry and you know all of your words and letters are dry, then you can go in with that rubber. I'm going to leave it just a couple more moments, but then once we've finished with this, what I'm going to do with mine is pop it into a frame, and I might put some lights in here as well, and then put it, and then you can give this to someone to put in their house at Christmas, and just make the room feel all lovely and festive. So this is one, let's hold it up, see if I can hold it up like this because it doesn't have a back on it. So this is just one way in which you can use these brush markers to make fantastic projects, and especially at this time of the year. And while they're on this incredible offer, I don't think they've ever been this low before, $39.99. It is the time to get yours at home today. I hope you've enjoyed this little Technique Tuesday. It's been lots of fun. There's so much more that I wish I could show you, but we'd actually be here all day, and I'm sure that you've got lots of other things to do. But all that is left for me to tell you is, let's go through our Win It Weekly competition again quickly before people rush off. You can win the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas Miri collection. It's $24.99. All you have to do is like, share and comment on this video with what is more useful when it's broken. Is it A, a match, B, rules, or C, an egg? So get your guesses in, like, share and comment, and you could be in with a chance of winning that on Friday's show. Creating Craft. Pauline will be back at 6:45 with our filigree flowers. So if you missed me launching those yesterday, go over and have a look at that this afternoon. Our 3-in-1 die brush is going into the rollover box, so you could be a lucky winner winning this when we spin the wheel on Friday. And our next Facebook Live show is tomorrow with Sheila and Kelly. They're going to be doing they're going to be going through our filigree flowers with you, so that's going to be exciting. Thank you for joining me today. I've had lots of fun. This has been a really nice, therapeutic, calming morning of colouring. I hope that you enjoyed the show. We're definitely going to do another Technique Tuesday in the next month, so keep a lookout for that and what it's going to be. But I've had a great day. Thanks, Emily. It's been fun. It's been lots of fun. So we'll see you all again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.